This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Oh, we're here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, we are live, and we are right here on the Value of Wrestling with your Dynamite review for November 15th, 2023. All these shows run together, you start forgetting who's who and what's what sometimes, but we're here to cover your AEW Dynamite show. We're going to talk about everything going on with Dynamite tonight. And we thank you for joining us, joining the chat, joining the conversation. Join us as we break down the fun that was called AEW Dynamite tonight. Yeah. Mr. Clarke, how are you feeling tonight?
Ooh, it was a night, wasn't it?
It was a night for Dynamite. What should have been a go-home show for the last Dynamite before you go into Full Gear. I know we have Friday night for a full go-home show, but it does not look like that match or that show is being stacked as a go-home show. It seems like Rampage is getting a little bit stacked for a go-home show. Who's going to watch Rampage after 2 hours of Collision and 2 hours of SmackDown? Kind of crossing wires there. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out. And we'll be here Friday night to cover both of those. So we'll do Collision, and then we'll do Dynamite, or we'll do SmackDown, but it'll probably be a late one because we got to watch both shows. So probably be a late night in the old town tonight when we cover all that stuff. So be ready for that. Be ready to join us. Yes. Yes, they are. And I think they're doing that next month at World's End. That'll be on a Saturday night. But I guess Collision will be on Friday night again. Or maybe not. I think maybe Collision got canceled for that night. I don't know. I'll have to pay attention. Lots of back and forth rumors. And we are glad to be here. We hope that you're here and that you join in the conversation with us. But let's get into the show. Dynamite opening to a Orange Cassidy and Hook versus the Blackpool Combat Club, which was Wheeler Yuta and Jon Moxley. You got this good, solid match here. You got what you expect from all these guys in the ring. You got a lot of back and forth, a lot of quick pins here. But it almost was just kind of a brutal beatdown of Hook and Orange Cassidy. Eventually, we get where Jon is under Hook, but Jon is trying to go for his finisher on Hook, but Orange Cassidy runs in and hits an orange punch, and Jon just takes it. He doesn't go down. He just eats it. He just turns like he's pissed off. Orange Cassidy looks at his fist, and then Jon hits a huge kick, sending OC to the outside. Hook is trying to hook in Red Rum, but Jon walks up, switches it, and walks over to Yuta. Yuta hits a right hand Death Rider from Jon, and Wheeler wraps him up in what they call the seatbelt and gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. This match was what you expect. Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta pretty much beating down Hook and Orange Cassidy as we prepare for Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley. At Full Gear, Jon Moxley then gets on the mic, tells Orange Cassidy he's nothing, he's never been anything, and this weekend Jon will put the world back on its axis, and he will grind Orange Cassidy in the dust and win the title, and we will have a new international champion in Jon Moxley. This was the story we got told here. If that's what we're seeing, then I guess Jon Moxley's winning because they beat these two boys down. It was a decent match. They had some miss here's and there's. You can see sometimes where Hook's still green, Wheeler Yuta's still a little bit green in this. But overall, a fairly good match. Not the worst match in that by far, but a good solid match here. But it was mostly a beatdown on one side. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts?
I think the whole point of the beatdown, as you put it, is to put the sympathy on Orange Cassidy. So when he actually wins at Full Gear, it'll be that much of a bigger pop, that much of a bigger moment.
Oh, but haven't you heard Moxley's winning at Full Gear? That's the quote unquote story. Moxley has to win, right?
I don't pay as much to internet chatter as other people, so I couldn't tell you. But Moxley's already a made person. I feel like the whole point of the Full Gear match is to make Orange Cassidy, or continue to make Orange Cassidy, I should say. I mean, yes, he beat Jericho. Yes, he's in the conversation, especially with his first international title run. But you can always do more to get more over.
Well, I think the original storyline was Moxley had beaten Orange Cassidy for this title, and then Moxley was going to run with the title until Full Gear when we got the rematch, where Orange Cassidy would then meet Moxley and kind of be set up to be this person, and another name under the belt of Orange Cassidy, this climb up the ladder. I think Orange Cassidy's going to win this match. However he wins it, he's going to win it. Hopefully soon he drops the title. Because, I mean, I don't think he really needs the title to continue doing what he's doing. I think he needs to give that rub to the next person, especially after he beats Moxley. He's going to be riding high. He should be going on to TNT title contention and even starting to dance in the main event to show that he deserves to be in the world title picture. Not saying he's completely there yet, but he, with a win over Moxley, he could definitely start dancing with some of those big stars and trying to make a name that says, I deserve to be world heavyweight champion. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. The one, the only gobbledygooker of the season has joined us in the chat. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Z, Miguel Z, our New Japan Pro Wrestling expert, is in the chat. And if you want to know more about New Japan Pro Wrestling, you can always go over to Spotify for the Value of Wrestling on Spotify with the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound with Mr. Miguel Z. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Z. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Thank you for being here. We hope you joined this conversation. We're just breaking down Orange Cassidy, Hook versus the Blackpool Combat Club, and kind of the beatdown that went down in that match tonight. And like always, if you're in the chat, feel free to jump in. Feel free to put your 2 cents in. Feel free to say hi. Feel free to take part. Anyways, after that, we got a face-to-face between Swerve and Hangman Adam Page. Apparently, there's a no-contact clause, or both men will be suspended. So if either man touches the other man, both men will be suspended for the rest of the year, and there'll be no match at Full Gear. Swerve is out first with your favorite dancing fool, one Prince Nana. Yes, and then Hangman is out. Tony's asking Swerve to justify why he went into another man's house, but before that can even happen, Hangman takes the mic away from Tony Schiavone and just basically goes off. He tells Swerve he's a fraud, he's a phony, he's a dumbass. Dumber today than he was 2 years ago when his dumbass got fired. Page is just going off. Says Swerve is not world championship material. You know, that he's so stupid that Prince Nana just uses him. Nana comes out here, dances, sells t-shirts, and makes a living off of Swerve's back. And when the show over, he goes to his hotel room, goes down to the hotel parking lot to buy weed from a high school kid. Yes, we had a weed reference in AEW tonight. So we'll see where that stands. I guess that's not as bad as an NWA. So after he beats Swerve's ass, he's going to beat Nana's ass and steal his weed. This is what it leads to. So Hangman's going to beat Swerve, and he's going to beat Nana and take Nana's weed from him. So that's what we got there. Swerve yells Page, look at him, or Swerve turns away from Page. Page tells him, look at him, calls Swerve a child, and talks about how he's taught kids a lot of lessons. So he's wrestled with children before somewhere. I don't know where this reference comes from, but there seemed to be
a teacher.
Oh, yes, that's right. He did used to be a teacher. He will teach Swerve the last lesson of his life. He's taken Swerve to hell, and he's going to be the judge, jury, and executioner, and he's going to make Swerve's house spends eternity in the bottom of hell. And it wasn't me bringing up the weed. Yes, Mr. Z, we know. You're good here. Eventually, Swerve goes up for the mic, but Page ain't done. Tonight's stipulation was they couldn't touch, but there was nothing about him not touching Nana, and Hangman beats the snot out of Nana. Just starts beating down Nana. Swerve goes over to help out Nana, but then realizes that he can't touch him, and so he stands back until security comes in and breaks it up. And then one of the security guys take a butt shot lariat as Swerve and Nana make their way back up the ramp. I will give this Hangman sounded really strong here. I don't know how Hangman doesn't win this match. Maybe Swerve should, but I think where we've gotten to, you've got to have Hangman win the match at Full Gear. But tonight, Hangman really made himself exceptional. Swerve looked swervish in all this. Prince Nana got his ass beaten. Overall, this is probably the best moment of the night. Hangman definitely did what he needed to do to kind of get you hyped for the upcoming match. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts?
Hangman made it fun tonight. He brought the passion. He brought the oomph. Like, where has Hangman been for a little bit? This is what we need. This is what we need from him. I just hope it continues, whether he's on Friday's show or not. At least continue this on Full Gear. All I got to say about that.
Nope. We'll definitely see how that plays out. I feel Hangman has to win this match with the way they've gone with it, unless they're going to continue this feud, but I don't think they are. Swerve got the last win. I think this is the rematch. Hangman puts this to bed and we move on. I don't think there's much more to stir with Swerve and Hangman right now. You give Hangman the win. He looks strong. He moves on in a different direction. Swerve can go back in and work with the Mogul Embassy to figure out what's next for Swerve. But Swerve's definitely getting into the contenders picture. Can he be a world champion? Hopefully, if they build him right, he can be in that picture very, very soon. Backstage, we have Roderick Strong with the Kingdom. They call out Adam Cole, or they call up Adam Cole, put him back on the TV screen. Adam Cole looking like an old, I don't know if he's getting ready to play Santa at the local mall this season, or what's going on. Strong tells him he knows who the devil is. It's Max. It's definitely Max. Adam gets annoyed at this and eventually hangs up. They try to call him back, but he's not answering. We get to continue this weird thing with Roderick Strong, the Kingdom, Adam Cole, Jim JF, the devil. This thing is just dragging on and on. Hopefully at Full Gear we get the next step in this story. We get some defining roles and who's who and what's what. Maybe we don't get to know who the devil is just yet, but maybe we get to figure out who these goons are. Who are going to open the door for us to maybe assume better who the devil is. And we shall see. After that, we got Skye Blue versus Red Velvet, and Skye Blue is back out in her Scooby-Dooby-Doo gear. Where are you? Do you want to see that booty? Anyways, other than getting to see, yes, we saw the Adam shirt. We've seen it. It's been out a couple weeks now. But anyways, this match had its moments. These two just didn't kind of come together real well. They had missed moments. They both grazed each other's hair with the double kick knockdown. There was just moments where this was not a pretty match. You can see a couple of the botches, the missed hits, the miscommunication here. Eventually, Red tries to end it. She did do a beautiful move off the top rope. Red Velvet hit Skye Blue with a beautiful move off the top rope. But eventually, Red tries to end it. Skye holds on and rolls through with a big kick to Red's head. Skye hits the ropes. Big kick from Red. Kick to the shin. This is when Red tries to do a spin kick, but Skye catches it and hits a knee. And then we get Code Blue. It wasn't pretty. Definitely not. But we get a 1-2-3. Skye Blue wins. Skye Blue is moving into the triple threat dance with Chris Statlander and Julia Hart for the TBS title at Full Gear, as we predicted, as we know the story's going. But overall, this match went 10 minutes, 34 seconds. It was really disappointing to see Skye Blue out there in this match, in the sense that it just wasn't one of her better matches. These two just, I don't know if they're both still green in a sense, or if this was just a bad night of miscommunication, or if they just don't have the mojo to flow together, because it didn't go over like a good match. It was just not a match that I wish it would have been, especially for what Skye Blue was achieving in this match. But Skye Blue wins. We got what we want. We know what's coming up for Full Gear now. Julia Hart, Skye Blue, Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander does have to wonder, where does Skye Blue stand in all this? Will she turn on Chris Statlander? Has she actually been infected, quote unquote, by Julia Hart, but playing it off? Or is she going to actually show Julia Hart that Julia Hart has no power over her? How is this going to play out? Who's going to walk out with the TBS champion? I'm pretty sure we're walking out with a new TBS champion. I lean Julia Hart more than anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if Skye Blue was to pick up the win in a weird fashion here. But to each his own, and that's something we can definitely discuss at another time and place. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on Skye Blue versus Red Velvet?
What are we calling this? The Johnny Ace match of the night? The Divas match, quote unquote?
I don't even know if it lived up to that level of a Diva match. It was not. It was
at
pretty.
Least Skye Blue looks the part.
You know, yeah, it was pretty to look at, but not pretty to
That's
watch.
what I mean by. That's what I mean by that. Not a technical classic, but something pretty to look at.
Yeah. From there, we got Miro in a video package. It's leading to his match with Daniel Garcia this week on Collision. So we're going to get Miro eating probably Daniel Garcia for life, because all it'll take is one dance by Daniel Garcia, and Miro will eat him into pieces. Joe's going to kill you. Miro's going to eat you, which one you want.
It all ends up in death.
Yes. Let's just hope. Well, I guess that could be a team, Miro and Samoa Joe. That would be, you know... Yeah.
Practically, who could beat him?
Well, right now the what's their names would be the only team that I could see going against them that might have a chance. The Mogul Embassy, two guys.
Not the way they've been used in their whole AEW career.
The Gates of Agony, yeah. So
not the way they've been.
Who knows? The Young Bucks would probably beat Joe and Miro just cause.
And then you're gonna get a whole arena going bullshit.
Hey, we got arena tonight chanting awesome during some of these matches, like they chanted awesome during the Sky Blue Red Velvet match. They're like, "This is awesome," and I'm like, "What?"
I mean, I respect both wrestlers. I love both of them actually. But I understand it's like not this particular match.
No, this match did not work out. There was nothing awesome in this match, and I don't know why these people got happy. Anyways, we got it after this. We got it.
Why they got happy.
Well, not why they started chanting, "This is awesome," but anywho.
Sorry, go ahead.
From there, we're in a backstage segment. RJ is outside the dressing room with Mariah May of Tony Storm. Mariah May knocks on the door, and Luther comes out and slams the door back in her face. RJ knocks and asks for a moment with Tony. Tony's all lounged out with cucumbers on her face, and Mariah's fangirling over her. The shades of Mickie James, Trish Stratus are just screaming all over what we're seeing here. Hopefully they do it justice and do this right. From what I understand, this is supposed to be some type of movie with Betty Davis back in the day where she was a fan of this, or she had, Betty Davis was this big famous actress, this big famous spotlight person, and she had a fan that came in and had an admiration for her, was a big fan of everything she did, and then this fan basically was the fall of Betty Davis's character, her fall from grace. So this is the story we're going to get here, supposedly. Mariah May is going to be the fangirl of Tony Storm. Tony Storm is going to eventually kind of accept her in, and then Mariah May is going to be the thing that's going to lead to Tony's downfall. This was an interesting moment. We get the start of this. We get to know this is going on. Yada, yada. We'll just have to wait and see how this story ends. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts?
The fact after all this time, she called for a match, a tune-up match on Friday. I'm like, why now if it's taking this bloody long?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yes, the vignettes have been, halfway interesting, getting the character over. But, the term wrestling is in the name. Something she should be doing every once in a while. With 3 shows, you can do it at least on one of them once a week. Now we're going to finally get to see her do a little bit Friday. We already expect Tony Storm to win the AEW Women's Championship as it is. It's like I don't even know what further to say at this point.
It's the only thing that makes sense at this point. So
right. At one point he called Sheeta the safe bet, but by winning the title. Now Tony Storm is the challenger, and they've just been pushing her character. Only thing they've been building, really. I mean, it's like, yeah, they're building the TBS in a weird way, the TBS championship situation in a weird way. But as far as the AEW World Women's Championship, it's Tony Storm. That's the only thing they've built.
Yep. So from there, we had Samoa Joe in action, and like this says, it says footage of a murder redacted. So yes, this was a murder. This was a kill. Joe went in there and put this fool out, and that was it. It was short-lived. Joe got in the mic, gave a shout-out coming from Huntington Beach, California, if I remember correctly. He's a Huntington Beach boy. Of course, he calls out MJF and says since they're in Joe's hood, he's extending his offer of friendship and to trust him. Time is limited, whether MJF has this friendship or not. Joe stealing a line from the Avengers, from Thanos, and saying he is inevitable. Okay, Miguel. Again, Luther's name is no longer Luther, it's Luther. Lutha. And he is now a butler. He's Luther the Butler. And if you look on the AEW site and look under Superstars, he is listed as Luther the Butler. So, Dr. Evil, no, he's a butler. So, go check that out. He is now Luther the Butler. He is the butler to one timeless Tony Storm.
Yep.
Anyways, from there, we got the Young Bucks match. We had the Young Bucks versus El Penta Miro Zero, or El Penta Zero Miro, and Kommander, because I guess Rey Fenix is still having visa issues and other issues. So we got Kommander, and we got your typical Penta Kommander Young Bucks match. Flip-flop here, flip-flop there, over the top rope, dives here, dive there, kicks here, kicks there. In the middle of this match, they shake hands. We get some more kicks. We get more of this. We get eventually everybody going inside, outside, all over the place. Eventually, in the end, I believe it is Matt who distracts the referee, and Nick does a low blow to Penta, then does a low blow to Kommander coming off the top ropes, and then Penta's coming in to see this, and then he does a low blow to Penta. Knox was, of course, busy with Matt, and then we get a Judas effect from Nick, so we're getting a throw at Chris Jericho in this, tag to Matt, BTE trigger to Kommander, cover, match is over. It was 11 minute 59 second. It's an average match. It was a match that you get between the Young Bucks and freaking Penta and any other luchador that's in the match. It was flippy floppy, fly here, fly there. They got some awesome chants. There was some good spots in this match. I can't completely take it away from. I'm just not a diehard Young Bucks fan because they haven't done anything that makes me feel, at least in AEW. In the beginning, yes. Again, a lot of these guys in the beginning were something to be watching. Now I just feel like it's the same stuff. They do the same tricks, and nothing new's added to the table. And I just don't feel they're featured the way they should be if they're such a great team. It just seems like the same thing over and over again. But the Young Bucks win in this weird low blow, making them feel like they're heel. But as they walk up the entranceway, they're slapping hands at the fans and stopping, even sign a shoe if you were paying attention. So it is what it is. Young Bucks, Penta, Kommander, Mr. Clarke, your thoughts?
Match time says, 11 minutes, 59 seconds. If we need to fill 15 minutes, put this match on, hire Jim Cornette to do commentary, and there you go. He will let you know what
that would be entertaining. I love to hear Jim Cornette on commentary for either the Young Bucks or even Kenny Omega, as he calls them, Twinkle Toes. I love to hear him sitting there going, "Oh, here's Twinkle Toes against Pockets. Yes, what a great match we're about to have here." I think I'd pay for that shit. Match. I would pay for that shit. Just to see Cornette go off on a match with all of them in it. Oh,
speaking of which, so I watched the clip of My World with Jeff Jarrett. He was talking about the tweet he had put out about having Jim Cornette come in to the show.
Yeah.
When they were in Louisville.
Yeah.
Apparently that wasn't supposed to be serious. Because everyone knows how Jim Cornette, including Jeff Jarrett, how Cornette feels about AEW and whatnot.
Jim Cornette came out and said he couldn't find anybody to go with him because it's buy two, get one free ticket, He had the free ticket, but he couldn't find anybody to pay for a ticket to go with him. So, that's why we didn't get Jim Cornette in Louisville. Anyways, from there we had the Young Bucks cut a promo backstage. They're happy with themselves. Here comes Kenny Omega out of nowhere. And, you okay, Cat? Cool beans. Anyways, Kenny Omega goes, "Oh, this is what we are. This is who we are now." Calls the Young Bucks kind of juvenile. The Young Bucks basically say they can end this, and their beef's only with Jericho. They can end this, and that they can rejoin and be the Elite again. Jericho comes in to tell Kenny to leave the kids alone. Matt waits for Jericho to turn his back and then shoves it, and a fight breaks out. And so we have a breakdown to continue the feud between the Young Bucks and the Golden Jets. It was a moment.
Be friends? Why can't we be friends? Jeez.
It is what it is. I'm assuming that the Golden Jets will beat the Young Bucks for this title because I think Tony Khan has a love affair with this Golden Jets thing right now. He's giving them a name, and I think we're going to see them win against the Young Bucks because I think it's too soon to end this. I'm assuming they're going to team up, win the titles, and eventually Jericho or Kenny is going to turn on the other one in the long story run. We're going to get the MJF Adam Cole thing. It's just hit, repeat. We're going to put two people together, and then one of them's going to turn on the other one, hit the repeat, and rinse, wash, and repeat type system. So that's what I assume we're going to see here.
I know Tony Khan's a longtime fan, but I'm really starting to wonder if he went to the school of Vince Knox, Vince McMahon, late era. Oh, I just don't understand this.
I mean, where else does this Golden Jets go? They get beat by the Young Bucks and it's over. Then what was the whole point of, yeah, I get they had the Don Callis thing to join up, but I mean, that seems short-lived now. Like, even the Don Callis thing has died after tonight. I don't ever care about seeing Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho and the Don Callis family tying it up after tonight's debacle, but that's a whole different story we'll get into here momentarily. Anyways.
In this next match.
It's Bullet Club. Bang, bang. We had the Guns out versus Jobber Jones and Jobber Judy. And this was another squash match. Redact anything because nothing really happened. The Guns jumped in, beat the guy down. The bell rang. They put him up for a 310 to Yuma, and that was it. And they grabbed the mic too. And they're like, yeah, we're going to win the titles. Yeah, so the Guns are going to win the Ring of Honor tag titles at 0 hour before Full Gear. That was that. Then we got a video package of oh, did you want to say anything about the Guns match before I jump
Go ahead. There was really nothing to write home about.
Anyway, so we got a video package about Wardlow because Wardlow's a badass. Yes, don't you remember how badass Wardlow is? Wardlow's just a smash and grab. Wardlow's just amazing. Wardlow's a main event status player, right? Wardlow's just incredible. We just can't wait to see Wardlow and MJF tie it up again because Wardlow is just so awesome. Wardlow's worked so hard to earn a title shot at MJF. Wardlow's the beast. Wardlow's Goldberg 2.0 in a whole new era. Wardlow's better than all of them. Wardlow, yeah.
You know, you're always saying tell you when you're telling lies. You were just telling lies.
Tell me when I'm telling lies. Yes, I know. That's why I puked over here in the corner.
Jesus.
We got a promo package for Wardlow, trying to make Wardlow look like he's something that it's like, whatever. Who cares about Wardlow? You killed Wardlow a long time ago. You're not doing anything to really build him back. These video packages don't work because we don't take it seriously. We already know how you did it once. He's not going to beat MJF. He's not there. And he hasn't earned a shot at MJF. So can we get over this and call it a day? I mean, he had 3 squash matches, hasn't wrestled anybody again. So, I mean, what makes him the contender for MJF's title? Other than he's got a bad heart-on for MJF. I guess he misses his best friend. I don't know. Doesn't he know what happens to MJF's best friends? Did MJF tell him that, hey, I'm cursed, so don't be my friend? Don't be my friend. Don't be my friend. Good God almighty.
Mr.
Z, are you
for the clusterfuck?
Mr. Z, are you with me right now? Are you with us, Mr. Z? I need you for this one. I need you for a moment. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to take a bow of silence before we even start talking about this match. I think we just need to... I think we have to say goodbye to Paul Wight after this match, at least. But, I mean, even this match was atrocious. We've got this street fight, whatever it was called after the video game, the man who erased his name. So we had the Don Callis family of Powerhouse, Hobbs, Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher with the borrowing of Brian Cage against Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Paul Wight, and Kota Ibushi. So Don Callis family comes out to this real impressive entrance, a dragon on the video screen. Looked pretty cool. They looked all ready. They came down together. Then out came Chris Jericho to his song, which is escaping my head, Judas. And we got to sing along with Judas briefly. And then Kenny Omega's music hits, and Kenny comes out with Kota Ibushi. So Kota Ibushi doesn't even get his own entrance. And then last but not least, we get Paul Wight. Now, Chris Jericho and Paul Wight were both dressed in tuxedos. Omega and Ibushi were dressed in trunks and tights, ready to wrestle. Jericho came out with a bat, looking like he walked out of Pulp Fiction or something. Paul Wight looked like he was the bouncer at the outside door that they just pulled in as somebody they needed for this match. And this thing was a shit show, a shit basket, and a shitty handful. I mean, this thing was crap. And should have known it from the start. They had like Chinese signs and Chinese food restaurant signs around this thing. They had plastic crate things. They had every stupid thing. They even had a bicycle. Literally, Kota Ibushi walked up the ramp, got on a bicycle, rode a bicycle down with a fake pipe, and tapped everybody with his freaking pipe before he got clotheslined to hell off of it. And then they started using the bike as a weapon in the match. And then, yes, eventually Paul Wight and Powerhouse Hobbs disappeared to the back. Eventually, Paul Wight and Powerhouse Hobbs are on a stack of pallets, and Powerhouse Hobbs picks up and slams Paul Wight down into the hood of the car. And the rest of the night, we see that Paul Wight is out of the match. Then at one point, Powerhouse Hobbs comes back down to the ring. They use a bottle to bash open Kyle Fletcher's head. Kenny Omega looks like he lacerated his hand with this bottle really bad. So that's going to be interesting what shape he's going to be in going into Friday. Eventually, Powerhouse Hobbs got duct taped to the ropes and got his mouth duct taped. Takeshita, and this was just a shit show, the shit fight, the shit. I wouldn't be surprised if this didn't give somebody the runs too, because it was just we got a suplex through the table. Brian Cage from the top rope almost with Kenny Omega putting him to two tables on the outside. Another one of those moments where you're just like, did we really need that moment? I mean, somebody could get really hurt there. Oh, Kyle Fletcher beautifully basically hit a power driver, a tombstone power driver on Kota Ibushi through the chairs. But hey, about 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes later, about 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes later, Kota Ibushi was back in the match like nothing happened to him.
Oh, the adrenaline!
Jericho hits somebody with the bat. We get a poison Rana. Yeah, this would have been a match for Cornette to call if we would have heard Cornette calling this crap show. Anyways, eventually Kenny hits a V-trigger, one for Cage and then one on Hobbs. Then he puts up Cage for the one-winged angel. We get a 1-2-3. This match finally ends. 21 minutes of just carnage that didn't need to. Yes, Takeshita throwing around the bicycle, Kota Ibushi riding down the bicycle to the ring. I don't know. Tony Khan needs to quit booking street fights because he doesn't know what to do in them. And this was a crap show. This was nothing. I know this put some people to sleep, but Mr. Clarke, your thoughts
Quite
on
literally.
this? Your thoughts on this? I don't know.
Would you say the average fan who was watching this match would even look at Hobbs body slamming Paul Wight? Did that look impressive, do you think, to the average fan?
No. I mean, he picked him up and dropped him on the car, but I mean, there was so much other. It was in a crap show. If this would have been like a moment between Powerhouse Hobbs and Paul Wight in a fight, and they were in the back, and that would have been the single moment to end this or something, it would have been impressive. It would have been something special. But because of everything else, and because it was kind of a side moment, and they focused on it briefly when they showed Paul Wight looking like he was dead. Yes, we know. Thank you for joining us. We know you're talking about good old Tony. But it was no. I think that the rest of the match took away from that moment. If that moment would have been like singled by itself, you might have got a more impressive moment.
Well, the reason why I ask is because you can clip that moment and see what you can do with it down the line.
Yeah, they can use it later, but if anybody connects it back to this match, but of course the AEW fans chanted, "This is awesome." So we know how they felt.
They are weirdos. Clap, 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 clap.
That's what you get when you live in Southern California. It's all in the water, right? Because we were in Ontario, California tonight. We were in Ontario tonight. Not far from Rancho Cucamonga, home of the Bucks, because Daddy Buck was there. Yay.
Mommy and Daddy Buck were there, apparently. According to commentary. I saw Daddy
Who
Buck.
cares? Who cares?
Fair.
Who cares?
Fair.
Who cares? Who cares about Mommy and Daddy Buck? Who cares about the Young Bucks as much anymore? They've kind of left.
Well, okay, so
What made them anything?
Daddy Buck used to have more importance in Ring of Honor. Kind of the same way that the Briscoes' dad had his own little side fame. But again, that's old news. So,
but Ring of Honor is dead. It's just being held on a life support by Tony Khan, dangling around, pretending he actually cares about Ring of Honor when he doesn't. Ring of Honor was a purchase by Tony Khan to make the Young Bucks and some of the people who have been Ring of Honor champions and CM Punk. The only reason Tony Khan really went out and bought that was to make them happy and satisfy their needs, so he would own the tape library, and WWE wouldn't own the tape library, because if WWE owned the tape library, they would have a whole nother segment of stuff to it, and they'd get to control the narrative in it. Now Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor. He acts like he wants to do something with it, but he doesn't. He has it on an app. He's not looking like he's trying to get it on TV. He doesn't treat it like it's important. And, of course, I think a lot of people, like, looking back at it, I think allowing Joe to vacate the TV title instead of having Joe in a triple threat match or some type of other match. Joe's not even on the card for Full Gear, so why wouldn't he been able to defend that title again against a Keith Lee, or put Keith Lee in there with, you could have put Powerhouse Hobbs, Keith Lee, you could have put anybody else in there and had a triple threat so that Joe wouldn't have to take a loss, but then you could have got the TV title on somebody else instead of just vacating it after he beats Keith Lee. So I have to agree with some people. You think Keith Lee's in the back calling Paul going, how much longer do I have before I can come back? And not our Paul.
Possibility.
I'm just saying, but I mean,
Mr.
I look
Lubeck.
back at it and I go, it's kind of sad that, Joe beat Lee the way he did, and then he just vacates the title. I mean, like, why? It just says, okay, the Ring of Honor TV title is nothing, but you built it up to be something on Joe, and then you just kind of like, I give it up. I think you could have done more with it, but I don't think Tony Khan really cares about Ring of Honor. It's there. He uses the titles on AEW TV to make it feel important, but they don't really push anything. Yes, they're having good pay-per-view buys, but that's, you have those people who want to keep Ring of Honor alive, and I get that, but I mean, I don't think it's a growing brand. If he even would have defended it on 0 Hour, at least it would have been something more. I mean, look at it. He beat Keith Lee and then vacated the title. Why couldn't he have lost to Keith Lee and given Keith Lee the title? It wouldn't make Joe look weak to lose to Keith Lee.
Especially because Keith Lee is someone that can look like an equal. Look like there's no harm in it. There's no shame in it.
And Keith Lee's got his buddy to go wrestle for the Ring of Honor TV title. At least that would have made sense. He's having that feud on Ring of Honor with whoever. I forget his name.
Shane Taylor Promotions. If I recall
Yes.
right.
So, I mean, you could have given the Ring of Honor TV title to Keith Lee, had him beat Joe. Yeah, it would have taken Joe out of it. Joe could have been pissed off and more angry, and it would have still been fine, and he could have gone teamed with MJF. You could have still gotten there and given the title to somebody who could have done something with it, made Keith Lee feel a little more important. Than Keith Lee and Shane Taylor's feud could have added another element to it. So,
But they're just going to do some other title tournament or, some bullshit with it.
Tony Khan does not care about Ring of Honor. It's just something he bought to appease the other wrestlers in the background to make them happy, because he's like, no, Tony, don't let Vince buy it. And probably something to help get Punk to come in. It was all part of that Punk deal and bullcrap. So, hey. I don't know what title Eddie Kingston's defending more. Didn't he lose his strong title, or did he retain it the other night? Eddie Kingston to me should be in the TNT title match or even the world title match at this point. Eddie Kingston versus MJF, I think that'd be great stuff. Those two on the mic against each other. Woo!
Give me what I want. Give me what I want.
Anyways. He still has it, so we got 2-belt Eddie still going large and in charge. Anyways, MJF comes out here. He's out here. He's being a scumbag, and we get the worst impression, I think, of MJF. Great promo, but I really didn't like this whole, I'm scared. I know all these people want to knock me off the mountain, but they're not going to do it. He apologizes to Acclaim for what happened to them. I don't know. The promo, he does good promo work. He's not willing to quit. He's not willing to give up the spot. I love MJF, but I don't feel like MJF is important. I don't feel like MJF is anything here. I feel he's weaker than he's ever been. Like, it's just, you're like, hey. Like, I don't even want to see him with the world title anymore. I kind of want Jay White to win so we can go somewhere else. Because MJF just feels flat. He doesn't feel anything, right now. I just, he gave a great promo. I'm not taking away from his capabilities of delivering a strong promo and making you believe in him in a way, but I still feel like it's like, I'm scared. MJF is not the type to be like, yes, I'm scared, I'm afraid. I'm like, I don't like this babyface trying to be, he's everybody's scumbag. I don't know, unless it's a big act, and then he's going to come out as the devil and tell us all, I was never afraid, it was all bullshit, I just sucked you all into the game. That might be a great deal. Anyways, Jay White came out and says it's MJF. MJF's the devil. We all know he's the devil. He's told us the whole time he's the devil. He will always be the devil. And there'll be hell to pay. He holds up the title, and then he says, get him, and the rest of the elite jump MJF in the ring. Eventually, Juice Robinson's nails MJF with the hand loaded with the quarters. The guns then drop him with a 310 to Yuma, and then we get Jay White, and he hits him with a Blade Runner. Jay pins MJF with Juice counting the 1, 2, 3, and this is how we end the show with MJF laying on the ground without his title, without any friends, looking up at the lights, looking like a poor bum, not feeling like MJF should. It feels like everybody's getting the upper hand on MJF, and MJF is just not MJF that makes me want to care. Yes, he can be a great promo teller. Yes, he can get out there and get passionate. He can do a lot of things great, but right now I'm just like, I don't care. I don't even care about this match. I kind of like assume MJF's going to have to win it because Jay White's just kind of got the upper hand. You're looking at MJF winning. We're probably going to get this devil reveal. Hopefully it's at Full Gear because I'm tired of this devil crap. It needs to move on. Roderick Strong needs to get away from screaming Adam's name like he's a hypocritical ex-girlfriend that got dumped on prom night or some shit. I don't know. It's just all this other crap that's nonsense that means nothing. We got no closure if MJF's going to have a tag team partner for Full Gear. I guess we can get that on Collision or Rampage maybe. I don't know. We got 3 hours of AEW wrestling on one night. Why we need that when we almost choke on ourselves and our own vomit? We got to watch 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. At least it's been better than it's been in a long time, so it's sustainable, but it's also a lot of wrestling to try to digest. And then we're going to go into what is going to be a 4 to 5 hour pay-per-view on Saturday of AEW. So I don't know, 3 hours on Friday, 5 hours on Saturday. In what, 48, not even 48, in 24 hours, we're basically going to have 8 hours of AEW on TV. And they ran over by like 3 minutes tonight, so there's that. Your thoughts?
I think
Mr.
on
Clarke?
paper, they were trying to make MJF look sympathetic by basically getting the beat down and everything. But it's like, if you've been watching MJF's run, it's like, he only really works. I mean, he can do the tweener thing, but he's at his best when he's heel. So this babyface run is just like, why? And without Adam Cole, it's just gone down even further.
No, it has. My head's already hurting. I'm sorry, Mr. Z. But I can't digest this MJF tonight. When he said I'm scared or I'm afraid or whatever the wording was, I was just like, that's not MJF. Like, I've never heard MJF say that, and now you just sunk him further down the hole for me because it's like, that's not what I want to hear from him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gonna stand and make it, but I'm like, no, this is not MJF. I don't know.
I mean, if he comes back and says, is the devil or whatever, and gets back to his heel roots, this time era of his career is still going to be black marked by how bad it is, even if he, even if he rises again.
And even the AEW Championship feels lackluster and secondary. The TNT title feels more important than the AEW World title. So, and Christian's barely defending that title, so he's not even defending at the pay-per-view. Hell, Christian's become the Roman Reigns of AEW at this point.
Damn.
Tell me when I'm telling lies. And, of course, they've already ruined a lot of Full Gear because they already had Edge team up with Sting. They already had Adam Copeland team up with Sting. And they already had Adam Copeland touch Christian Cage. So that's all out the window. I mean, but is there a match on Full Gear that you can say you're excited to watch?
If we're basing it on build, none. If we're looking at potential for in-ring action, I'm still pretty good with the card.
Oh yeah, in-ring action is going to be decent. I mean, you're going to get a Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho match where everybody's going to get their finishing maneuvers on. You're going to get a good 20 minutes of everything all over the place in that match. You'll get good wrestling, and the outcome will be what it is. You're going to get the tag team match, which will be a typical four-way dance for the tag team titles. How that plays out, don't exactly know. FTR may win those titles back again. You have the triple threat for the women's match, which should be a decent match, depending on how it all plays out. Expect Julia Hart to win. the Guns versus MJF on the 0 Hour for the Ring of Honor title. It depends on how they play that.
Let's go, Guns! Let's go, Guns!
Is MJF going to defend that title by himself, or is he going to actually team up with Joe? If he's got Joe in his corner, he's not losing those titles. I don't think he's losing those titles regardless, because they're going to wait out this Adam Cole return. Who else is in action? Oh, we have the Tony Storm Sheeta match, which we expect to be decent, but we know is probably going to be the night Tony Storm wins the match. Probably Mariah May in some way helping out with that. And I don't know what else is on the Full Gear show anymore.
Well, worry about predictions at that nature on Friday.
Well, we already did our predictions on the weekly roundup together.
That's true.
So I just forget what the other matches
but,
were.
You know, if there's any last minute, this might have changed our perspective.
And then we haven't got that, and we haven't got anything that's been added to the card. Thankfully, we didn't get any added matches tonight. Oh, we got Hangman and Swerve. That'll be a good match. Texas Death Match. Depends on how they play that out. If it's anything like tonight's Street Fight, we're screwed. But hopefully a one-on-one death match will be a little better. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, so Friday we got Collision, and everybody I don't know if we announced this. We'll announce it one more time. Tony Khan has officially announced on Twitter, X, whatever we call it these days, that Kota Ibushi has signed with AEW. He is officially All Elite as of tonight. So there's your big news. Kota Ibushi is All Elite now. All Elite what? All Elite garbage, probably, because the way they book him over there, he doesn't feel like anything important. They take all these guys from New Japan Pro Wrestling that have all this tremendous, greatness. Yes, they're so talked about, and then they come over here and everybody's like, all right, I don't get it, but hey, it is what it is. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Clarke, is there anything you want to say before we close this show out tonight?
Man, will someone please pray for Tony Khan and just get his shit together?
And make sure you put your prayers out for Paul Wight, because we don't know if he's alive anymore. Yes, Full Gear looks like it's sold out. Pretty damn close to sold out, so they need to be careful how they show their cameras. If you paid attention to the camera footage tonight, they showed the one side, but if they ever showed the hard camera side of the ring, you could see that there was no fans sitting over there. They had that little, 3 rows here, and then the row by the end, the ramp, but everything else on the other side was empty. And if you watch how they do their cameras, they try to cut that off, but if you catch it, they'll slip up every once in a while. They try to make their place look so filled, but it's really not. Smaller venues maybe would do better for them, but we'll have to wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Value Wrestling on the Big Time. That is Mr. Paulus Clarke. This has been your Value Wrestling AEW Dynamite review. We thank you for being here. We thank you for joining us. And as always, if you're watching this from now, go ahead and make sure you hit that like button. Ring that bell for notifications so whenever we go live or put up any new content. And there's been some new content that's been out in the last few days, so make sure you check out that content. And we will be back Friday night with the doubleheader. We will be covering Collision. We will be covering SmackDown. We will do it in probably a 2-hour shoot. We'll do 1 hour on Collision, then we'll do 1 hour on SmackDown. We will get through that, and then we will be back Saturday right after AEW Full Gear ends. We'll be here, Mr. Clarke, myself, and the one and only Miguel Z, the gobbledygooker of the season. He will be joining us to do a review on that, and then we'll be back Sunday afternoon at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the weekly rebound, which will cover everything that happened this week in wrestling. And then we'll prepare for another week of hardcore wrestling, as we do each and every week, a review of each and every show, and then we head into Survivor Series. What'll happen to Collision next week, I can't tell you. We'll figure a way to cover that, but if it's on Saturday night going up against Survivor Series, we may watch it. If it's worth reviewing, we may throw that into Sunday. If it's not worth reviewing, we may not talk about it, but we'll let you know when we get there. But we'll be covering Survivor Series after it's over. There's too much there to not cover, so we will be here for that. Anyways, gentlemen, if you're watching this later, if you're not watching this live, make sure you like this video, hit subscribe. Every subscription helps us grow. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and become part of the Value Wrestling family. Otherwise, we're going to get out of here. We're going to close it out we're going to do like we do each and every week, as you always know, as I look around to get things ready to say good night, so long, farewell. We are going to do like I always say. It's somewhere in here as I keep rattling off stuff. Until the next episode. Oh, you know it.